Aung San Suu Kyi was born on the 19th of June 1945. She is a Burmese politician, diplomat, author, and Nobel Peace Prize laureate, 1991. She is the leader of the National League for Democracy and the first and incumbent State Counsellor, a position akin to a Prime Minister. She is also the first woman to serve as Minister for Foreign Affairs, for the President's Office, for Electric Power and Energy, and for Education. From 2012 to 2016 she was an MP for Kawhmu Township to the House of Representatives. The youngest daughter of Aung San, father of the nation of modern-day Myanmar, and Khin Kyi. Aung San Suu Kyi was born in Rangoon, British Burma. After graduating from the University of Delhi in 1964 and the University of Oxford in 1968, she worked at the United Nations for 3 years. She married Michael Aris in 1972, with whom she had 2 children. Aung San Suu Kyi rose to prominence in the 1988 Uprisings, and became the General Secretary of the National League for Democracy, NLD, which she had newly formed with the help of several retired army officials who criticized the military junta. In the 1990 elections, NLD won 81% of the seats in parliament, but the results were nullified, as the military refused to hand over power, resulting in an international outcry. She had, however, already been detained under house arrest before the elections. She remained under house arrest for almost 15 of the 21 years from 1989 to 2010, becoming one of the world's most prominent political prisoners. Her party boycotted the 2010 elections, resulting in a decisive victory for the military-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party. Aung San Suu Kyi became a Pyithulattor MP while her party won 43 of the 45 vacant seats in the 2012 by-elections. In the 2015 elections, her party won a landslide victory, taking 86% of the seats in the Assembly of the Union, well more than the 67% supermajority needed to ensure that its preferred candidates were elected president and second vice president in the Presidential Electoral College. Although she was prohibited from becoming the president due to a clause in the Constitution, her late husband and children are foreign citizens, she assumed the newly created role of State Counsellor, a role akin to a prime minister or a head of government. Aung San Suu Kyi's honors include the Nobel Peace Prize, which she won in 1991. Time magazine named her one of the children of Gandhi and his spiritual heir to non-violence. Since ascending to the office of State Counsellor, Aung San Suu Kyi has drawn criticism from many countries, organizations and figures over her inaction to the persecution of the Rohingya people in Rakhine State and refusal to accept that Myanmar's military has committed massacres. Under her leadership, Myanmar has also drawn international criticism for prosecutions of journalists. Aung San Suu Kyi, like other Burmese names, includes no surname, but is only a personal name, in her case derived from 3 relatives, Aung San from her father, Suu from her paternal grandmother, and Kyi from her mother Khin Kyi. The Burmese refer to her as Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Daw, literally meaning aunt, is not part of her name but is an honorific for any older and revered woman, akin to Madam. Burmese sometimes address her as Daw Suu or Ame Suu, Mother Suu. Aung San Suu Kyi was born on the 19th of June 1945 in Rangoon, now Yangon, British Burma. According to Peter Popham, she was born in a small village outside Rangoon called Hue Song. Her father, Aung San, founded the modern Burmese army and negotiated Burma's independence from the British Empire in 1947. He was assassinated by his rivals in the same year. She grew up with her mother, Khin Kyi, and 2 brothers, Aung San Lin and Aung San Oa, in Rangoon. Aung San Lin died at the age of 8, when he drowned in an ornamental lake on the grounds of the house. Her elder brother emigrated to San Diego, California, becoming a United States citizen. After Aung San Lin's death, the family moved to a house by Ina Lake where Aung San Suu Kyi met people of various backgrounds, political views and religions. She was educated in Methodist English High School, now Basic Education High School No. 1 Dagon, for much of her childhood in Burma, where she was noted as having a talent for learning languages. She speaks 4 languages: Burmese, English, French, and Japanese. She is a Theravada Buddhist. Suu Kyi's mother, Khin Kyi, gained prominence as a political figure in the newly formed Burmese government. She was appointed Burmese ambassador to India and Nepal in 1960, and Aung San Suu Kyi followed her there. She studied in the Convent of Jesus and Mary School in New Delhi, and graduated from Lady Shri Ram College, a constituent college of the University of Delhi in New Delhi, with a degree in politics in 1964. Suu Kyi continued her education at St. Hugh's College, Oxford, obtaining a BA degree in philosophy, politics and economics in 1967, graduating with a third and MA degree in politics in 1968. After graduating, she lived in New York City with family friend Marthani, who was once a popular Burmese pop singer. She worked at the United Nations for 3 years, primarily on budget matters, writing daily to her future husband, Dr. Michael Aris. On 1 January 1972, Aung San Suu Kyi and Aris, a scholar of Tibetan culture and literature, living abroad in Bhutan, were married. The following year she gave birth to their first son, Alexander Aris, in London. Their second son, Kim, was born in 1977. Between 1985 and 1987, Aung San Suu Kyi was working toward an M.Phil degree in Burmese literature as a research student at SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. She was elected as an honorary fellow of St. Hugh's in 1990. For 2 years, she was a fellow at the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, IIAS, in Shimla, India. She also worked for the government of the Union of Burma. In 1988, Aung San Suu Kyi returned to Burma, at first to tend for her ailing mother but later to lead the pro-democracy movement. Aris' visit in Christmas 1995 turned out to be the last time that he and Aung San Suu Kyi met, as Aung San Suu Kyi remained in Burma and the Burmese dictatorship denied him any further entry visas. Aris was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 1997, which was later found to be terminal. Despite appeals from prominent figures and organizations, including the United States, UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan and Pope John Paul II, the Burmese government would not grant Aris a visa, saying that they did not have the facilities to care for him, and instead urged Aung San Suu Kyi to leave the country to visit him. She was at that time temporarily free from house arrest but was unwilling to depart, fearing that she would be refused re-entry if she left, as she did not trust the military junta's assurance that she could return. Aris died on his 53rd birthday on the 27th of March 1999. Since 1989, when his wife was first placed under house arrest, he had seen her only 5 times, the last of which was for Christmas in 1995. She was also separated from her children, who live in the United Kingdom, but starting in 2011, they have visited her in Burma. On the 2nd of May 2008, after Cyclone Nargis hit Burma, Aung San Suu Kyi's dilapidated lakeside bungalow lost its roof and electricity, while the cyclone also left entire villages in the Irrawaddy Delta submerged. Plans to renovate and repair the house were announced in August 2009. Suu Kyi was released from house arrest on 13 November 2010. Coincidentally, when Aung San Suu Kyi returned to Burma in 1988, the longtime military leader of Burma and head of the ruling party, General Ne Win, stepped down. Mass demonstrations for democracy followed that event on the 8th of August 1988, 8-8-88, a day seen as auspicious, which were violently suppressed in what came to be known as the 8,888 Uprising. On the 26th of August 1988, she addressed 500,000 people at a mass rally in front of the Shwedagon Pagoda in the capital, calling for a democratic government. However, in September, a new military junta took power. Influenced by both Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence and more specifically by Buddhist concepts, Aung San Suu Kyi entered politics to work for democratization, helped found the National League for Democracy on the 27th of September 1988, but was put under house arrest on the 20th of July 1989. Offered freedom if she left the country, she refused. Despite her philosophy of non-violence, a group of ex-military commanders and senior politicians who joined NLD during the crisis believed that she was too confrontational and left NLD. However, she retained enormous popularity and support among NLD youths, with whom she spent most of her time. During her time under house arrest, Aung San Suu Kyi devoted herself to Buddhist meditation practices and to studying Buddhist thought. This deeper interest in Buddhism is reflected in her writings as more emphasis is put on love and compassion. There also emerged more discussion on the compatibility of democracy and Buddhism and the ability of gaining freedom from an authoritarian government through Buddhism. During the crisis, the previous democratically elected Prime Minister of Burma, U Nu, initiated to form an interim government and invited opposition leaders to join him. Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi had signaled his readiness to recognize the interim government. However, Aung San Suu Kyi categorically rejected U Nu's plan by saying the future of the opposition would be decided by masses of the people. Ex-Brigadier General Aung San, another influential politician at the time of the 8,888 crisis and the first chairman in the history of the NLD, followed the suit and rejected the plan after Aung San Suu Kyi's refusal. Aung San later accused several NLD members of being communists and resigned from the party. In 1990, the military junta called a general election, in which the National League for Democracy, NLD, received 59% of the votes, guaranteeing NLD 80% of the parliament seats. Some claim that Aung San Suu Kyi would have assumed the office of Prime Minister. In fact, however, as she was not permitted, she did not stand as a candidate in the elections, although being a member of parliament is not a strict prerequisite for becoming Prime Minister in most parliamentary systems. Instead, the results were nullified and the military refused to hand over power, resulting in an international outcry. Aung San Suu Kyi was placed under house arrest at her home on University Avenue, 16 degrees 4932 and 96 degrees 91E, in Rangoon, during which time she was awarded the Sakharov Prize for Freedom of Thought in 1990, and the Nobel Peace Prize the year after. Her sons Alexander and Kim accepted the Nobel Peace Prize on her behalf. Aung San Suu Kyi used the Nobel Peace Prize's $1.3 million prize money to establish a health and education trust for the Burmese people. Around this time, Aung San Suu Kyi chose non-violence as an expedient political tactic, stating in 2007, "I do not hold to non-violence for moral reasons, but for political and practical reasons." Aung San Suu Kyi was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. The decision of the Nobel Committee mentions, "The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 1991 to Aung San Suu Kyi of Myanmar, Burma, for her non-violent struggle for democracy and human rights." Suu Kyi's struggle is one of the most extraordinary examples of civil courage in Asia in recent decades. She has become an important symbol in the struggle against oppression. In awarding the Nobel Peace Prize for 1991 to Aung San Suu Kyi, the Norwegian Nobel Committee wishes to honor this woman for her unflagging efforts and to show its support for the many people throughout the world who are striving to attain democracy, human rights and ethnic conciliation by peaceful means. On 9 November 1996, the motorcade that Aung San Suu Kyi was traveling in with other National League for Democracy leaders Tin Oa and Kawhmu, was attacked in Yangon. About 200 men swooped down on the motorcade, wielding metal chains, metal batons, stones and other weapons. The car that Aung San Suu Kyi was in had its rear windows smashed, and the car with Tin Oa and Kawhmu had its rear window and two back door windows shattered. It is believed the offenders were members of the Union Solidarity and Development Association, USDA, who were allegedly paid 500 kyats, at USD 50 cents, each to participate. The NLD lodged an official complaint with the police, and according to reports the government launched an investigation, but no action was taken. Aung San Suu Kyi was placed under house arrest for a total of 15 years over a 21-year period, on numerous occasions, since she began her political career, during which time she was prevented from meeting her party supporters and international visitors. In an interview, she said that while under house arrest she spent her time reading philosophy, politics and biographies that her husband had sent her. She also passed the time playing the piano, and was occasionally allowed visits from foreign diplomats as well as from her personal physician. Although under house arrest, Aung San Suu Kyi was granted permission to leave Burma under the condition that she never return, which she refused. As a mother, the greater sacrifice was giving up my sons, but I was always aware of the fact that others had given up more than me. I never forget that my colleagues who are in prison suffer not only physically, but mentally for their families who have no security outside in the larger prison of Burma under authoritarian rule. Her loyalty to the people of Burma and her solidarity with those imprisoned for their pro-democratic acts have earned her deep respect among the Burmese people. The media were also prevented from visiting Aung San Suu Kyi, as occurred in 1998 when journalist Maurizio Giuliano, after photographing her, was stopped by customs officials who then confiscated all his films, tapes and some notes. In contrast, Aung San Suu Kyi did have visits from government representatives, such as during her autumn 1994 house arrest when she met the leader of Burma, General Than Shwe and General Khin Kyi on the 20th of September in the first meeting since she had been placed in detention. On several occasions during her house arrest, she had periods of poor health and as a result was hospitalized. The Burmese government detained and kept Aung San Suu Kyi imprisoned because it viewed her as someone likely to undermine the community peace and stability of the country, and used both Article 10A and 10B of the 1975 State Protection Act, granting the government the power to imprison people for up to 5 years without a trial, and Section 22 of the law to safeguard the state against the dangers of those desiring to cause subversive acts as legal tools against her. She continuously appealed her detention, and many nations and figures continue to call for her release and that of 2,100 other political prisoners in the country. On the 12th of November 2010, days after the junta-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party, USDP, won elections conducted after a gap of 20 years, the junta finally agreed to sign orders allowing Aung San Suu Kyi's release, and Suu Kyi's house arrest term came to an end on the 13th of November 2010. The text taken from Wikipedia. Thanks for watching.